To this, so yep,
Okay.
it should be on. It says we are live. So,
Great.
guys, if you're joining me or if you happen to catch us in the future, I'm super appreciative. Jessica is the guest today, and it's 21 Spiritual Question Series. And I'm going to ask her a question, just let her speak, tell her thoughts about something that is really important these days when I do like a lot of shadow work or healing is forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, forgiving other people. I know that that is a huge issue for a lot of people important in my family, my mom, myself, issues that I've had to process of big things. Like, even recently getting a trigger, I was a irresponsible person and got in a DUI. And so I got triggered recently because somebody on the Raiders team that I support ended up killing somebody from that. So it's like I had that shadow work come up and I had to do it again. I had to absorb and forgive myself. So I just wanted to ask you and let you speak as much as you want about forgiveness itself, how have found an ability to forgive, and if you think that this is an important element, and just let you speak on forgiveness.
Forgiveness is huge, and it's always something that takes time for people. But it's like me, I I wasn't always super forgiving, and in fact, I was more of a negative thought. I was very unforgiving, and I found that kept me down all the time. Like in the end, it's just hurting you. Like um so yeah, like sorry.
No, it's
Um
okay. I love what you said because it's something that my mom really used to be like resentful, like purposely resentful and saying, no, 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 that person does not deserve forgiveness. And I came to, obviously I'm not perfect, but work in progress. I'm like, Mom, the thing is you can forgive that person because it kind of lifts the burden off of you from ruminating about it. You know what I mean? But it's hard to do.
yeah, it takes time, and sorry, I'm not good on the spot, but
That's okay, girl. I'm just glad that you're here and I appreciate you just showing vibes. Like you've been
yeah,
very, very like supporting and empowering. And I thought, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
just the forgiveness thing from different perspectives. I would love to hear,
right,
anything you have to say.
right. Yeah, so forgiving, sorry, hold on just a second.
It's okay. I was going to ask you in particular, did you have any moment like I did, like an epiphany where it changed for you, or did you kind of gradually learn to forgive? And if you did gradually, what helped you to like overcome or just be better about forgiving yourself and others?
So meditating has helped me so much. Like um um I'm so sorry. I'm crazy right now.
That's okay, girl. No, trust me. You know what I did this YouTube channel for, to be honest, is because I have this fear of speaking and I didn't even get up for my father's funeral and it hurt me like in 2011 because
Yeah.
this fear of being judged, right? Like this thing of
Yeah,
being,
and
dude,
usually I have notes. I'm big on notes. I always take notes, and I usually have my notes, but I don't even have them in front of me right now. So it takes me a second to get with it. But
you're good. This is
yeah,
all
like
casual and live. And it's like, you see my thing. I got shadow banned since I did the whole suicidal thing. I
yeah,
don't know why, but they shadow banned me or something. They said, oh, we're not going to recommend your video. So like, I don't know why these animal spirit videos still get recommended and my other stuff doesn't. So it's
yeah,
like, whoever is going to click on this is like good people and meant to see it. You know what I mean? So don't even trip.
forgiveness, seriously, like it's something within yourself. If I feel if you're not forgiving, you're not going to be forgiven likely from others. But it's something that'll eat at you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's just not gonna. You can't move on in life if you don't forgive, and I mean, it'll hold you back in so many more ways. And, you know,
Yeah. Do you have easier time forgiving others or yourself?
um, well, I think more now others, like I have a harder time forgiving myself now than others. Um,
Yeah.
but like my mom and stuff and growing up, different things that I went through was hard for me to be forgiving. It took a lot of time and time being away and clearing my head. Like, that's why I say meditating helps because
Mm-hmm.
clearing your mind of the negative thoughts and the negative things first is very helpful. Meditating helped me to do that.
So
clearing,
true.
Clearing your head first and then going back to, why these things may have happened,
Yeah.
But you can't control everything that happens. But people can change, and whether they do or not, it's, accepting people for who they are.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's a lot of it for me, like accepting, like I've accepted who people are that may have hurt me in the past,
Yeah.
And realizing that they're not me. People, I
Yeah.
can't expect people to be me and how I
Exactly.
am, forgiving
That's what
like
it's hard
I
for
am.
so long. It's like you can't expect people to have the same amount of compassion or whatever it is,
Right.
and it's
Then,
hard
yeah,
because you expect
exactly.
that.
I've worked on that myself. Like I said, I was always negative mindset, and I knew that was bringing me down and making me depressed a lot. And
Holding on to things, like holding on to non-forgiveness or whatever was holding you back.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I'm curious, did you go through a point like where you called it a spiritual awakening or some sort of, epiphany, or has it just been a gradual thing?
Okay, like a couple of years ago, we made a major move to Florida, and there was a lot had happened in my life, and my want to understand everybody. I knew that I wasn't thinking like everyone else. Like I had my own way of thinking,
Yeah.
and I'm stuck in my ways, and I was really down, and I knew that I needed to make a change so that I could be happy.
Yeah.
I knew that, I knew there was something that needed to be done, and I knew that I had to work on myself.
Yeah.
And so I just started working on more positive thinking, which doesn't just come. It took a ton and ton of practice.
For
You have
sure.
to start by not beating up yourself. Like it all comes from within. You first have to dig within yourself and find you, and forgive yourself, be nice to yourself. And after you practice those, it becomes easier and easier about
Yeah.
life. And after you do that, everything becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah. With
Like me
practice,
trying
right?
to life, instead of trying to always understand everything about everybody, just accept them for who they are, and I know that's hard,
It's hard
but
to ask why. It's
we
hard
can
to ask
influence.
why. Why do they do that? It was so hard for me to learn not to ask why do they do that, right?
We can influence change, but we can't change people.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's been like a huge lesson that I've learned in life.
That's
Like, not
beautiful.
that I've always wanted to change people, but something that we try to do is we want to change, but I realize we cannot change people, but we can influence change. And that's something I've
That's
learned along
beautiful.
the years.
God.
Like that's something huge that I've learned, is
Yeah.
that you cannot change someone, but you can influence change. And if you're positive and showing uplifted self and being kind to others, like that eventually rubs off on people almost always. Like you compliment somebody that's negative all the time, and they're going to be like, and then they may see how, that makes them feel, and they may want to share that and
It's so
spread that
true.
along.
When we force it upon them, right? Like it's
Yeah,
going to do the opposite. It's more of like that ease of flow type of, I totally agree. And I was so aggressive with trying to be like, wait, but be nice or whatever I wanted to change in people. And I had to realize, look, just change and be the change and then influence. Like that was a beautiful quote. I love that. I would like to title the video after that. It's perfect.
Yeah, it just it's so true. And I've realized, even if people don't understand you, you just keep being true to you and growing yourself. As long as you're trying to be a better you, you don't have to be the best, you just be the best version of you and what makes you happy, because you can't be what everyone else wants you to be. You can't always be making everybody else happy,
Right.
and
We'll split ourselves in 5 million directions if we do that, because everyone wants a different version of you.
yeah, it's hard because I used to be like that. I'm a
Yeah.
people pleaser myself, and I still am. I'm
Yeah.
still working on those sort
I
of
know I
things.
love you. Yeah. So I'm a work in progress always. It's that empath,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm greatly affected by everybody and their emotions or feelings. Growing up, I always was very well, I don't like to put it like this, but my family put it like this, emotional. But
Yeah.
like I was just very in tune to everyone else and how I may not even know you, but you may affect my day or the rest of my day just based on how you're doing or how it's just weird how I can
Were
pick
you
up.
even more sensitive? Like I seem to get more sensitive like that. I had that earlier. And then when I went through, a phase of kind of acceleration of this spiritual awakening, are you more, because I can be like at a grocery store and I've learned, to kind of little bit keep it blocked in my energy to myself. But I can even feel if somebody had just gotten in a very emotional situation or traumatic right there. And I like want to, I'm getting the chills right now because I know you can,
Yeah,
so I'm like, wow, I feel it.
It's hard because I was always trying to figure out what's my feelings, what's my emotions, what am I feeling truly, and instead I was always feeling what everybody else is feeling, and trying to figure out who am I, what am I feeling, what do I think about this, and it's overwhelming, and I'm still learning how to deal with that, and I'm getting better, but
me too, but I would like to know how to, I would like to take probably maybe like an extended, I don't know what, but some mentor or something to teach me, yes, how to control that better. You know what I mean? How to turn it on, because I am such a sponge, especially like, I'm sure like you in big situations, like when family's going to come over for Thanksgiving, it's just, you consider yourself better, but it's really difficult to actually turn those intuitive guided feelings off, right?
Try to accept that myself. Like, I feel like we all sit here and think about our own flaws, and I always felt very flawed growing up and different than everyone else. I was always like, I had good friends and stuff, but I always felt like I was on a different page than them.
Yeah.
And they were always thinking and liking and doing other things than I was. And I was always with them, but I always felt very separated and different and just kind of alone.
Yeah.
Nothing I could ever explain. Yeah, nothing I could explain to anybody.
Yes.
Back to what I was saying, like, so after I moved here and my life had been the way it's been, I've married, have kids, and I was always the same way, but I realized I needed to do things because I used to be really depressed, have bad anxiety.
Yeah.
I consider myself to not anymore have depression. I've overcame that.
It's great.
Which was hard. I went through a lot. But I did, thankfully, and I'm happy. And but I can still get upset, of course, and I have my days. But like
your baseline, right?
Full moon is making me like this right now. It's still supercharged, but man, it's not always good.
Right.
It can be an emotional, sad, mad. It could be. But it feels supercharged for sure whenever it's full moon. Right?
Valleys and peaks, it's real. It's real. And I love that you said that about overcoming depression and anxiety, because when I tell people that, I don't say like Amy, because I suffered badly, but I say that, look, I'm a human being. I can still have these points, but my baseline, you know what I mean? So I can tell that about you. And I appreciate you saying that,
Yeah. You got to start by being nice to yourself and not beating yourself up. Forgive yourself, forgiving others, which isn't easy. But that was the thing. I had to forgive others for the ways that they have hurt me. And I've always felt really hurt easily by people. And it may not have been that they personally always did something to me, but I'm just like that. I can feel easily hurt by things or people or for people. And so that overwhelming me all the time is like part of me knowing I needed to do something to make a change. And I think that was, forgiving myself for the things that I've done that I regret. And part of that is by me saying, when I say forgiving myself, is that I'm not going to try hard to do better, not do those things anymore. Forgiving my family because they have greatly influenced my life in good ways and ways that have made me who I am today.
Yes.
So I still love them very much, and I'm not saying they did anything horrific, but my family has made me who I am today. I mean, me being me and the influence they had on my life, and
I just talked to somebody today about generational patterning. I mean, it comes from our generation where we come from, and then maybe on down the line, and it's real. And then there's things that I'm even, as I become more aware, working through the depression, anxiety, all that, the last 4 years, it's like I become aware of even more patterns that I see in myself, not even blaming them, noticing it in myself, either detriments that they caused for me or that I am patterning after them. You know what I mean?
And not even exactly that you may be like them, but you may say, okay, my family's like this. Instead, I'm going to be like this. And I kind of made it like, my family is this way. I said, I'm going to be this way. And you always carry
Shit.
on certain
Yeah.
things, for sure. Even if you don't mean to, I've noticed that you'll carry on things from family that you didn't even know you carried on.
100%. Yep. And then it's kind of humble for those of us who want to take a look at that and look, and you're like, wow, damn, you know what I mean? I'm very much not wanting to be a hypocrite. So I always try to release and admit that, forgiving myself for even that,
Yeah. So it's not super easy to do, but it's practice, talking to yourself kind of in your own mind. I talk to myself in my own mind all the time.
I talk out loud and inside, honey.
So I think with everything, it's just been practice and, meditating and clearing your head and letting things go. I mean, there's things you'll never let go, but forgiving isn't about necessarily letting go, but just letting go of that emotion that hurt you, or whatever it made you feel,
Yes.
but finding a way to practice. And I can best, let me see, I try to think more positively about things, which is hard, but if you've got something negative you're thinking about, you try to find some positive things that you can put in about it.
Like, for instance, I was going to ask you a question that had to do with this, something that has helped me, and a lot of people consider it sugarcoating, but I really do believe in, things that happen in your life, like blessings in disguise from disasters. Like, there was a situation that happened, like I was molested at 10. We had to move right quick, like in 3 months. And because I moved there, I ended up meeting the father of my children, et cetera, et cetera. So is there any way that you get helped in thinking like that when you think of maybe the situation or trauma or the person or thing that you need to forgive? Does it help by kind of seeing it from a bird's eye view in hindsight to see what had unfolded because of that could be considered positive?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Yeah. It's helped me, you know what I mean? Because it's interesting when you see, well, if I didn't have that trauma, I wouldn't have gone to the jail and met this beautiful soul that we keep together to this day. Little things like that. Like, who wants to go to jail, but you know what I mean? Like,
it's really amazing, truthfully, how everything good and bad that's happened in my life has led me to the very happy moment that I'm in. Like, I think of all these things that happened that, just like what you're talking about, if this wouldn't have happened, even though it was a bad moment, it wouldn't have caused this to happen, which led me to this, which led me to here. I mean, it's just amazing. I definitely know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you. Like, that's amen. That's a butterfly effect. It's just so, my girlfriend talks about the entanglement, and it's just unbelievable. Like, the ripple goes out forever, and it's just amazing how you can kind of follow trails, and it gets like a DNA chart. You know what I mean? It just really expands for other people too, that you've affected, like you said, positively.
That just hit me recently. Yeah. So
when you look at all that intricacy, it's deep.
Yeah. Fine. But like, separating yourself from, of course, things that are keeping you down, or I think removing toxic people from your life, negative people or people that are bringing you down. Like, let's just say, I mean, that is super helpful with everything, because and of course, having good relationships is huge in your life, because if you have, like, let's just say you have a boyfriend and that's going bad, it seems like everything else starts to go bad in your life.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect. Energy, it expands. Yeah.
But if it's going good, it seems like everything's going really good.
Yeah. Is that hard for you now? It was really, really, really hard for me in the past, right? In 2016, 17. And I had a big problem with it, but I've way accepted it. But it was the people who were closest to me, some of them, in which I realized, although there's love there, I had to detach and remove myself based on that toxicity. And it seemed at one point like they were falling down like dominoes, and it wasn't anything they or me were doing. It was just, I was noticing, like, I don't want to sit in the corner and gossip about so-and-so's nose or what, you know what I mean? It was just becoming like, it was a lot of pettiness and things that I had not taken notice, because I was just, walking around not taking notice of how someone's action can get you into a lower vibrational state and just, so I wanted, was that hard for you to kind of distance and bring yourself out of that realm of some people or whatnot?
Yeah, it's hard, especially when some people are all about you, and those people are the bad people, if they're the people that maybe that you need to separate from. Like, some of them have been my closest, bestest friends.
Yeah, same.
And moving. That's it. Like I said, moving.
Mhm.
I didn't want to move at first. I just found I was pregnant with my daughter,
Mhm.
and I was moving back to where there was nobody, no friends. It was just my family and my husband's dad, and that was it. I knew nobody, and I knew that the times I've been there before, it was very lonely.
Yeah. Was
And
it good to at least get a clean start though, like a fresh slate or something like that?
yeah, that felt good, and I needed that. Yeah. So after when that's what I finally said. Okay, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna start fresh. Yeah. So when I came, I knew that it was gonna be fresh start, and it did help me in so many ways. Like I let go of some people I need to let go of, and then being
Yeah.
away from those people has helped me so much, and not going back. Like I tell people that have a problem going back with their ex, like going back with the ex is like a person with a drug problem.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't, if you go back, if you are around that person, you're going to likely relapse.
It's trauma
If you
bonding. Yeah.
remove
Trauma
them, you
bonding.
have to stay completely away
Yeah.
sometimes from people to keep them out of your life. And even though that's
No
hard,
contact. Yeah.
you'll find it's best, even if it's super hard. Like
Yeah.
I've noticed that having certain people in my life has helped me so much. Not that I don't love them, don't care about them. I wish all the best for them, but my life has been able to move forward. And in the end, you have got to live your life. You have
Yeah.
to, no matter how much somebody loves you, this is your life. No matter how much your friend wants to talk about your life, you're the one living your life.
Absolutely.
You know. So.
And it's about forgiveness for yourself from breaking that close tie, right? It's like what helps me is I say that, quintessential in my mind and to the universe, and thank you for the time that I did get with you that benefited me in this lifetime or taught me lessons, but now I'm going to pull my energy away because I know, and it's really heartbreaking, but it's like it's better to have that big heartbreak and then have the energy that is more non-suffocated as you go on without that kind of relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because toxic people are like, it can be, for me, it can be contagious. I find that over a while, from certain people in my past and those close to me, I can see myself acting in the way that I am being treated because it's like a mirror and it's like, hey, wait, that's so.
Definitely. It can bring you down. Definitely.
Yeah.
So doing that is a huge, like, there was another thing I was going to say. My cup.
I was going to ask also, I keep on throwing probably off the topic. I'm sorry. I'm so like that. My Pisces brain is like all over the place. Wait, what sign are you again? You're Pisces, right?
I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, I knew it was. I'm a Capricorn moon, so I knew we had the same thing.
I'm awkward when I'm around new people. I'm kind of awkward, but then you're my friend. It's all good,
Yeah. I get same. I'm just like I think I'm awkward in general my whole life. Like you said, like I always just felt like, am I like the only one? Like, did I come from another planet? And hey, now I found out ancestors probably
like the weird one. Yeah.
I was gonna say, have you found anything that works really well, like aromatherapy, or maybe you were mentioning, which is great. I want to talk about that, like meditation, like whenever we can. It's amazing. But anything that has really been kind of a godsend for you for the anxiety, that was something that I dealt with. I never had it up until age like 28. And then it hit me and I had the full blown for many, many years. I just can say I overcame it probably only 3 years ago. So it was panic attacks, the whole 9 yards. I got addicted to Xanax. I mean, you name it. I was really, really bad. And that led to all kind of things. So I'm just wondering, do you find that you found something that is like a go-to for your anxiety, or when something comes up that would make you anxious, like an earthquake or something pretty serious, what would you go to?
Although, when you're feeling anxiety and depressed, you don't want to do anything, honest to God, sunshine, even though I felt like there's plenty of times I tried and didn't work, honestly, getting out in the sun and being outside is huge. Like whether it's going, like for me, I like to be around water, going to the water, listen to water. Silence helps me. I mean, I also like noise, but finding like a silent place where I can go, like sometimes I have to totally say, okay, I have to step away from
Me too.
and I go outside and take some deep breaths. But being outside, I feel great, whether it's taking off my shoes, sitting in the grass for 10 minutes. I like hunting for arrowheads, rocks, and like looking at shells and stuff, like just separating your mind from whatever is bothering you. So for me, that's going outside, being out in the water, around water, taking a bath. But yeah, definitely being outside. I like to go to the beach, go on the ocean. But if I'm like out or anything and I'm having anxiety, just talking to myself, tell myself it's okay. It's going to be all right. Even when you don't feel like it's going to be, just sometimes just telling yourself that will
reassurance.
Your mind.
Yeah. I don't think I gave myself enough of that, what you were talking about going outside. Like for some reason before I didn't, and it's probably because of the self-worth or whatever, I didn't allow myself to break free. I would feel guilty, like, oh, I'm supposed to still be in this environment and take care of ABC. But now it helps to do that to put my mental health, the anxiety and the, vibe level priority.
It took me time to realize that. But yeah, like the more I spend time outside and the more, because that's what I love to be, I like being outside. But, I also like my quiet and alone time. I like being inside too, but I notice I'm happiest getting some sun. And I live in Florida, so to me, that's helped huge. Like living in the Sunshine State has been big for me, because when it gets wintertime and the trees die and the seasons change, it can get depressing. It really can.
Where did you used to live? What state before Florida?
I'm from Missouri.
Okay.
So we had no change of seasons. Now it's summer all the time, and I miss the winter. But then I think about the dead trees and staying inside all the time does make me depressed. And
true.
I say a few things. Sunshine helps. So
are you close to the beach too, where you live? Are you in driving distance or anything?
Yeah, I can walk to the water anytime, but that's the bay, just a block down the road, and the ocean 20 minutes. One of my favorite beaches. Yeah.
Right. What's it called?
Inglewood Beach.
Oh, awesome. I love that. I love that? Oh, it's like, that's my heaven too. And it's like, I feel very more, much more connected as I let it in. It sounds cheesy, but it's like, feeling the trees, all that stuff. I'm just like, wow, to take a moment and to stop and just look at the little squirrels objective, on the ground, and just to feel your feet and grounding, it's helped a lot. It's helped a lot.
We are very connected with the earth. People think that we're not. We're just these beings on earth, but we are super connected with the earth.
Yes.
And getting barefoot in the grass, grounding. Yeah, getting barefoot in the grass, like it sends, you get energy from the earth, and we send it back. And the rubber shoes that we wear bounces the energy off of us, so we don't even receive the energy when we're wearing our shoes. So going barefoot can help. Like if you're going through depression, anxiety, definitely try going outside barefoot. I know there's people that can't stand to go barefoot. My husband can't stand to go barefoot. I talked him into it. He couldn't believe how it made him feel. Like somebody that never goes
like you get out of a sauna, you feel that relief.
Yeah,
that's so true. A lot of people, you're right, don't like the texture or whatnot, but it's so, I think you get used to it. A lot of people would say that about the sand at the beach, but it's like when you really just feel what it does.
It's hard to get used to. We have concrete floors and tile floors, so like when I first moved here, the sand on my feet all the time drove me crazy. You have to adjust and get used to it. Sure.
Everything I guess you get used to, right? And when it helps you, it's like worth it.
I'm gonna grab my
just from Rod perspective.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm outside because that's where it feels good to me. And
I know. I was going to tell you when we wrap this up in a little minute, I was going to say, I also am constantly, especially from this whole collective stress and energy shift with the COVID thing. It's like going outside, even if it's just in my courtyard, it is a godsend. I do the park all the time, at least once a day for the yoga, but to go outside, I'll go in there in a minute and just feel the night air. And it's unusually warm in the Bay Area. It's usually November, hecka cold, but we don't know what environment is doing. And poor Mother Gaia needs to get a lot of love. I love that you're outside, and it always just to connect with anything. It's just beautiful. What about forgiving? For me, I've always kind of been a very, I don't know, rose-colored glasses or cheesy, more forgiving than other people. I think it was harder for me to forgive myself, but there was a few things, like I mentioned, the 10-year-old thing. There's a few things, and maybe like things that happen that are horrific, like serial killers, kidnappers, or kids. I have 3 kids, like you have kids. Is it ever hard for you to forgive outside of your situation? Like, for instance, like the death penalty, I changed my view. I was pro death penalty up until 2016. I had the spiritual awakening, and I'm like, I can't believe that I'm talking like this, but I'm like, okay, I understand now that we're not their judge, and that, yes, I want them locked away forever. But I just had this change of heart. Like, okay, I'm not the one to be the one to say, or the government or whoever it is to say yes or no. And that was just a really surprise for my parents. That my mom was like, what? You know what I mean? So it was odd the way that things kind of came to me as I wanted to do the work of forgiving myself and others that were immediately around me. I also thought about things like that. So have you expanded it, and like, do you have any, feedback about forgiving, like outside yourself, things that are horrific, and not that it's for you to forgive, but just being more,
I found myself changing my mind and being more forgiving to things that I wouldn't have been before.
Yeah.
Just, kind of going through little things or seeing friends go through things will definitely change you. I try to have an open mind, even though my ways are very ingrained in me. I'm strong in my beliefs, but I'm very open-minded. But I have found that I've changed my mind on certain things over the years, and especially the past couple of years. I don't know if it's just because I've started to become more spiritual. Like I was always into, like, I always thought like astrology and meditating was fascinating, but just recently the past couple of years is when I actually got into it the most, by trying to understand others better. And just instead of being so hurt all the time, I was trying to find ways to understand people. And then it just hit me, I should maybe start reading astrology. And then I realized, a lot about myself, and learned a lot more about myself, and that made sense, and others, and it made so much sense.
Yes.
And,
yes.
crazy.
Do you have, do you, like, how in depth do you get? How deep do you go? Like, do you know what's going on and in what house? And I also want to ask you, what's your moon sign and your rising?
No, I don't know. I'm still learning. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
I'm a work in progress. I would love to take a look at your chart and just kind of dive deep and be so neat.
I'm still learning. Like I'm just basic, very basic. And
I'm not a professional astrologer. I dig it and I can read it, but I'm not like, I would not be able to tell you where Lilith is, or also,
Yeah, I have also a short-term memory problem. I didn't always. When I got pregnant with my son, I noticed my short-term memory went goodbye. And I was like asking my doctor, because I could remember everything, conversations I had when I was little, and then all of a sudden it went away, and I was like, what is going on? He goes, well, and my doctor was like a 45-year senior in OBGYN, and he told me that when you're pregnant, your brain shrinks, and the part of your brain that can affect your memory, and it did mine big time. So I find myself, I have to reread and re-talk about things a couple times sometimes to remember. And so I can forget something I've read, not long ago, but it takes me time sometimes. But I'm learning, and I'm really fascinated with it all. I definitely don't know a whole lot, I don't feel. But
I feel like I'm a sponge. Like, we could just learn and still have much to learn when we're in our death.
I love to learn and read about it, and I am reading about it all the time. But all this stuff, like what you are rising and your moon sign, all that I've just recently heard about, and I'm wanting to figure it out. So I'm going to be checking into that.
It's a trip, man. I found out a lot more about when I dived into Capricorn side of my moon. That it's just like everything else in astrology. You're like, wow. It's just a perspective that kind of sings to you if it does. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, I dig it. It's a trip.
That's been helpful in me forgiving, is learning, like my mom's sign, learning about her. I'm not saying your astrology is what makes you are. It's not. It's just traits that you may have, but it's definitely helpful in understanding people, and it's definitely helped me to be more forgiving.
True.
Just understanding people, and that it's not always what we think it is. You can't always just judge things, because you don't always know, like, that's the thing. Somebody could have gone through traumas themselves, you know,
Yes.
and it all makes difference. You just got to be willing, you know, you got to love enough, and ain't always love. You just got to, you know,
Step
you got
in
to
people's shoes, right? Just kind of really walk in their shoes.
It's a relief to yourself. You know, it's relief me to be forgiving. And like I said, it takes practice for
Yeah,
sure.
it does. Well, girl, are you willing to come on again? Because I would love to have you on again, and I would love to talk about this even more, but about the meditation, because I would love to like talk to you about, you know, how often you do, all kind of questions that I have for you. But I just think like if you were comfortable, you made me the most comfortable I've been on the camera. I feel like I'm just chilling, like talking to you back and forth. I actually, for the first time, forgot that I'm on the YouTube. So I just like really, yeah, I really feel comfortable. I really appreciate you so much. Yeah, if I would love you to, if I didn't have the whole, you know, we'll leave that up. And if the evening didn't go kind of crazy, but that's okay. That's life with kids. How many kids do you have?
2.
2. Okay, I have 3. And my son's 19, but still. My only son, so it's like, yeah. So then I just feel like I got to go get a shower and all that. But I appreciate your words. They were words of wisdom to me. I definitely resonated with them. I know that this is why I do this, because I know somebody who's meant to hear it and feel like either they're validated or give them encouragement. It's like they're going to see it. So I would love to. I will DM you or text you and set up whenever you would like. I would love for you to come back on. I find that this is good therapy for me too. For a while, I think in COVID, I was kind of isolating, not going on live or doing any kind of thing, just making little memes. And so this is good for me. So I appreciate you. And I'm thanking you for that.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Give the babies loves and everything. And thanks for coming on, sweetie.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.